Okay, friends. So in the previous session of a digital voltmeter, we already discussed one of the technique, and that is a RAM type DVM, where we use a ramp voltage. Then the ramp voltage is going to be compared with your input voltage, and proportionally you can count the number of the clock pulses. But the disadvantage of the RAM type DVM is that if your input voltage contains a noise, then you will get a large amount of the error in the measurement. So today we are going to discuss a more accurate method for converting a analog signal into a digital signal, and that is called a dual slope type DVM. So here, what is the basic principle of the dual slope type DVM? And for that we should know what is the integrated circuit. And already we have learned in the operational amplifier that what is the integrated circuit. Just we will quickly revise the integrated circuit, and then we will go for a block diagram of the DVM. Now in the integrated circuit, remember, we know that we are using a operational amplifier. It has a two terminal, inverting and non-inverting terminal is there. Non-inverting terminal is connected to ground, and to the inverting terminal we are connecting a resistance R, and in a feedback path a capacitor C is connected. Capacitor C is connected. So here we apply the input voltage, and here we have a output voltage. Now for the integrated circuit, already you have derived this expression that the output voltage is equal to a minus 1 upon RC integration of VI into dt. Now if the VI is constant, means if we are measuring a DC voltage, so DC voltage is a constant quantity, then in that case this integration will comes out to be minus VI by RC into T, and this indicates the output voltage here. The output voltage of the integrator is linearly increasing with the time t. So let us say, take an example, that if my input voltage is a 5 volt, value of the resistance R is 1 mega ohm, C is a 1 microfarad, and therefore your RC time constant will comes out to be a 1 second. Correct? And if we calculate a output voltage for a different time, then this output voltage here we can say, let us say at t is equal to 0. What is my output voltage? So output voltage will be equal to minus Vi by RC is there. So minus Vi by RC, but t is 0. So the output voltage is going to be 0. Now at the t is equal to a 1 millisecond, then if we calculate the output voltage, then this output voltage will be a minus 5 divided by 1, and this is 1 millisecond, so this will comes out to be a 1 millivolt. Then if we calculate t is equal to a 2 millisecond, then the output voltage will be a minus 5 divided by 2 into a 2 millisecond. So here it will comes out to be a, sorry, this is not 2, but it is a 1 second is there. So here we write a 1 second, and minus 5 into 2 milliseconds, so it will be a 10 millisecond, 10 millivolt, but negative sign. Remember here, I forgot to write this negative sign. So this is minus 1 millivolt, and this is minus 10 millivolt. Then same way, if I will calculate for a 3 millisecond, then the output voltage will come out to be minus 15 millivolt. Correct? 5 into 2 is 10 millisecond, 5 into 3 is 15 millivolt. So in this way, as the time is increasing, my output voltage will also go on increasing. Now if I will plot the graph, here. On this x-axis, on the x-axis, let us say a tan T is there, and this is my output voltage. So if T is equal to 0, the output voltage is 0. Then T is equal to 1 millisecond, output voltage is minus 1 millivolt. Then for a 2, it is a minus 10 millivolt. So here, if you plot this graph, then it will be like this. Suppose I am going to integrate here. I am going to integrate the signal up to a 10 millisecond. Then the output voltage will be a minus 5 into 10 millisecond. So this is minus 50 millivolt will be there. So let us say this time period. Here I am integrating the signal up to what? A T is equal to a 10 millisecond. Then this output voltage will be a minus 50 millivolt. So here you can see that if I am applying a constant plus 5 volt at the input of the integrator, then the output voltage is go on increasing in negative direction. So here, if you see what is the slope of this, then the slope will be from this equation you can see minus Vi by Rc into T is there. So this slope will be a minus Vi by Rc. And accordingly, the output voltage is go on changing. Now, here, instead of a plus 5 volt, if I will apply a minus 5 volt, remember, minus 5 volt, immediately, correct? Then what will happen? Your capacitor is already charged here. Your output voltage was a minus 50 millivolt was there. Now suddenly we apply a opposite polarity of the voltage. Then what will be the expression? In the output voltage here this output voltage will be written as that VO will be here. For this negative, VO will be equal to minus, now minus Vi is there, and divided by Rc into T. So now this will be Vi by Rc into T. Correct? The negative input voltage is there. So then now the slope of the voltage, the slope of the graph will be a positive. Remember. So here if you put a different value of the tan T and if you calculate, then your output voltage will increasing in this way. So here we have a negative slope. Now here we have a positive slope, that is the Vi by Rc. And after some time, this output voltage is going to be 0. Correct? So here we have a dual slope. One of the slope is for the input voltage and another slope is for a reference voltage. You can say minus 5 volts is nothing but it is my reference voltage. Correct? So if this is clear to you, then now it is very easy to understand the principle of a dual slope type integrator. So basically in a dual slope type integrator, what we are doing, that we are integrating our input voltage, whatever your unknown voltage is there, for a fixed time period. Here, this time period is fixed. This is integrated for a fixed time. Integration for the fixed time. And then again whatever the integration is there, and this will be a integration for a fixed voltage. So you have to remember this thing. First of all, we are integrating for a fixed time period, and then we are integrating for a fixed voltage. Now let us say that instead of a plus 5 volt here at the input, that if I will apply Vi is equal to a plus 7 volt, means my input voltage is higher, then what will be the output? So here if you see in the graph, then this output voltage, means here the Vi is a plus 7. So if you calculate the slope, then the slope will be larger. And if you calculate this voltage, then here the slope is higher, so you will get this. Remember, this is a graph for what? Vi is equal to a 5 volt, and this is a graph for what? A Vi is equal to a 7 volt. Now instead of 7 volt, if I have a 9 volt, then the slope will again increase. So in that case, the output voltage will increase in this manner. This is for a Vi is equal to a 9 volt. So you should understand, as my input voltage will increase or decrease, then the slope of the graph will also increase or decrease. Now remember that in a second part, what we are doing? We are integrating for the fixed voltage. For the fixed voltage. Fixed voltage means what? That Vi by Rc here. This slope will be a constant. Here the slope is constant. Correct? So what you will find? The slope is constant means here it is going to be discharged in this way. Here this is going to be discharged in this way. Okay? So here in this case, when my input voltage was 5, then I am getting this time period T1. But if the input voltage is 7, then we have a time period of T2. If the input voltage is 9, then we have a time period of a T3. Correct? So when it is going to be a discharge, then the time period will be a different for a different input voltage. If input voltage will be less, this time period will be less. Input voltage is large, this time period is going to large. So here now what we are going to do? Then first of all we will integrate whatever my input voltage is there for a fixed time period. And then it will be a integrate again for a reference voltage. So you will get this different time period. And for this different time period, my gate circuit will be open and closed. And through this gate, the number of the clock pulses is passing. So if the time period will be small, then the less number of the clock pulses will pass. Time period is large, then the large number of the clock pulses is going to be passed. And this number of the clock pulses will be proportional to my input voltage. So here we are using both the slope of the graph, and that's why it is known as a dual slope type DVM. Now let us see what is the actual block diagram for this a DVM. And let us why it is not going to reduce. Now, first of all, you try to understand each block of your circuit. Here, at this input, we have this input voltage, the input voltage which we want to measure. It is my unknown input voltage. And here some reference voltage is there. And always you should remember, in this type of the DVM, here both the voltage must be of a opposite polarity. If my input voltage is negative, then the reference voltage must be a positive. Then here we have this a switch. It is kind of a electronic switch. Remember. So this switch will be connected for the input voltage, and then the switch will be also connected to a reference voltage. Then here resistance R and C is there, and this is our integrator circuit. So this part is a integrator circuit. The output of the integrator is given to a comparator. It is also known as a zero detector, because the one of the terminal is connected to the ground, means here we have a 0 volt, so the output voltage of the integrator is continuously compared with the 0 volt, and correspondingly it will give you the output. Now this output will be either of a high level, or if it will be of a low level. Already you know that in comparator output voltage will be high or low. Then it is given to a AND gate. So this AND gate will be enabled only if this output voltage of the comparator is high. The other terminal of the gate where we are connecting a oscillator. Oscillator means it is a kind of a clock generator. And this clock generator is generating a square clock pulses. So when this will be high, then only the clock pulses will pass through this AND gate. Or you can say the gate is open. It is given to a counter. Now this counter can be a 4-bit, 8-bit, 16-bit. It depends on what kind of the resolution you want. So normally it will be of a 8-bit or the 10-bit counter will be there. But just for example, here we consider only a 4-bit of the counter. So as the clock pulse is passing through this gate, the counter is go on counting. It is a up counter. So it is go on counting the number of the clock pulses. Then whenever the counter is going to be a full, then it will drive the flip-flop. And the flip-flop is going to drive a switch. So this switch will be either connected to EI or it will be connected to your reference voltage ER. Okay? Now let us see how this circuit is going to work. So suppose we have applied some input voltage. This input voltage is, let us say, a positive voltage. It is a plus 1 volt is present. Correct? Then already mentioned that the output voltage, initially this switch is connected to a input voltage, remember. Therefore this output voltage of this integrator will comes up to be a minus 1 upon RC. Integration is from a 0 to T1, let us say VI into dt, and this will be a negative voltage. This will be a negative voltage. So this negative voltage is continuously increasing with the time. Correct? And here it is going to compare with the zero. Then naturally both the voltages are different, and therefore the output is going to be a high. So this output voltage is given to a gate. So the gate is going to be open. So whatever the clock pulses is there, it is going to be passed through this AND gate. And here the counter initially you will get the counter 0 0 0, then the second clock pulse will come 0 0 1 0 0 1 0. In this way we have a up counter, and the final count will be a here. Whatever the count will be there, then before that we have a count 1 1 0, then my final counter is 1 1 1. Okay, now try to understand. Here this whatever the flip flop is there, it is a negative age T flip flop. So to trigger this flip flop, we require the negative age, and this negative age is going to be provided by this counter. Here you can see that last terminal, the MSB, this is the LSB of the counter, this is the MSB of the counter, and the MSB is connected to the flip flop. Whenever the negative age is generated at the MSB, then the flip flop is going to be a trigger. Now this is a T flip flop. So T flip flop, what will happen? The output is going to be a change whenever the negative age will come. And in T flip flop, both the input J and K is connected to high, so the output is going to be a alternate 0 1 0 1 whenever the negative age is coming, and correspondingly your switch is go on and off. Okay, so now try to understand. Here, when this counter is reaching to a 1 1 1, up to this time period, remember, up to this time period, your output voltage is continuously increasing. Here, if I will draw the graph, then this output voltage is continuously go on increasing, because the input voltage, the switch is connected to the input voltage, and the comparator is on, and the clock pulses go on counting, and it is going to be when it is going to be 1 1 1. Then after, what will happen? Your counter is going to be a reset. Reset means here now it is a 0 0 0 0. So you can see that MSB is changing from 1 to 0. Here, this MSB is changing from 1 to 0, means it is producing a negative age like this. Whenever the negative ages come, then the flip flop is going to get toggled, and due to this toggling, this switch is now going to be open, and this switch is going to be closed. Remember. So here the output voltage will go on increasing till the counter is going to be 1 1 1. So, and for this, let us say we require a time period of T1. This is a 0, and this time period is T1. Here, whatever the time is required from 0 0 0 to 1 1 1, then this time period is T1. And then after, the counter is going to be reset, that is going to be trigger the flip flop, and the flip flop is going to drive such a way that the switch SI will be open, and the SR is connected to a reference voltage. Now this reference voltage is negative. Remember, this is a negative reference voltage. So negative voltage is given to the integrated circuit. So in negative reference voltage, what will happen? The slope of the graph will be a positive. So here, that whatever the output voltage is here, initial, what was the output voltage? It was this much. This is the output voltage, correct? Now the integration, or you can say now the capacitor is going to be discharged from this point and here. This capacitor will be discharged in this way. So here the output voltage at this point is go on decreasing. Decreasing in the sense that negative voltage. Here this is a minus 50 millivolt, then minus 40 millivolt, minus 20 millivolt, minus 5 millivolt, and at some point the output voltage is 0. So here this voltage is going to be 0. So what will happen now? That counter output will not remain high, but the counter output will be a low. So here instead of 1, now the gate input is 0. And in an AND gate already you know that when one of the input is 0, then the output will be also 0. Means this clock pulses cannot pass through this gate. It will not pass through this gate. But meanwhile, remember, what was happening? Here when the counter was reset and it is connected to this switch, then this voltage is go on increasing. So the counter is also go on increasing like this 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. Here it is go on increasing. But at this time T2, the comparator output voltage is going to be 0. So the output of the AND gate is 0. Now no further the clock pulses is going to pass through this AND gate. You can say the counter is stopped. Here the counter is stopped. And whatever the time is required from 00 to 100, that time period is T2. This time period T2. So here during this time period T2, whatever the number of the clock pulses has passed, and that is proportional to your input voltage. So if the input voltage will be large, then the clock pulses, your gate will be open for a larger time period, and the more number of the clock pulses is going to be passed through that, and this digital output will be also large. Now whatever the output of the counter is there, it is given to a display here. Yeah. And in the display you can measure this voltage. Again try to understand the sequence how it is going to be measured. Initially the switch is connected to my unknown input voltage, and that is the positive. So the integrator output is going to be a negative, and due to this negative voltage, the comparator output is going to be a 1, which will be enable the gate. So the clock pulses will pass through this AND gate, and the counter is go on counting from 0, 0, 0 to 1, 1, 1. And whenever here the negative A is generated, it will toggle the flip-flop. Toggle the flip-flop means the switch is also going to be a change from SI to SR. So now the input voltage is disconnected and the reference voltage is going to be connected, that is my negative voltage. So here you can say that we have integrated the input voltage up to a time period of T1. That is a fixed time period. What is a fixed time period? That how much time is required from 000 level to a 111 level. So for a 4-bit counter, it will be a fix. Because my time clock pulse, the duration of the clock pulse is fixed. So it will be a fix. If you have the 8-bit or 16-bit, means that first first of all, we are integrating our input voltage for a fixed time period of T1. Correct? And then when this switch is connected to a negative, then the output voltage of your operation amplifier is going to be with a positive slope. Means the negative voltage is go on decreasing. But remember, meanwhile your comparator is on here. The comparator output is not zero. Comparator is on. So your counter is go on counting from 0, 0, 0 to 1, 2, 3. So here the counter is on and it is go on counting the clock pulses. When this output voltage of an integrator is going to be a 0, then the comparator output will be 0 and it will disable the gate. So the gate will not allow the number of the clock pulses to pass through this AND gate. So here you can say the counter is going to be stopped, and this counter will be stopped after the time period of T2. And whatever the final display, final digital signal is there, that digital signal will be given to the display unit and it will be proportional to your input voltage. So here we have integrate. Remember, we have integrate for a reference voltage, and that reference voltage is fixed. So this is the integration with fixed reference voltage, and this is the integration with fixed time. Correct? Here if you see, the slope of this will be a minus Vi by Rc will be there, and the slope of this will be a plus Vr by Rc, reference voltage, plus Vr by Rc. Now suppose your input voltage is plus here. Instead of a 1 volt, if my input voltage is of a 3 volt, then just now already mentioned that if the input voltage will be large, then the slope Vi by Rc will be also large, and for a fixed time period. For this fixed time period, if you integrate, then your output voltage will be this. So output voltage will be larger for a larger input voltage. So here you can say that this is for a 3 volt, this is for a 1 volt. And then when the switch is connected to a reference, we are not changing the reference voltage. It is same in all the cases. So that slope here, that slope of the output is going to be a constant. So if the slope is remaining same, then the capacitor will be discharged with this parallel to this line. Remember, here both the line will be a parallel, correct? And therefore, here whatever the time period is there for the integration, that will be a larger than the T2. So here if I will calculate, then this time period will be a T2 dash. And during this time, so here your gate, that AND gate is going to remain open for a T2 dash time period. And during this time period, the large number of the clock pulses is passing, and the counter will also count the large number of the clock pulses, and that is going to be a display in the display unit. So in this way, if the input voltage is going to increase and decrease, then this slope will also increase or decrease, but the second slope will always remain constant, and that is going to be determined for how much time period your gate is going to remain open. Okay, now let us see mathematically how we can prove that the output voltage is counter number of the count is proportional to your input voltage. Remember, now I am going to write a expression for the output voltage. So this output voltage is written as, now I am starting from this point to this point, correct? So with the first integration, when my input voltage is connected to a integrator, so in that case it is minus 1 upon RC integration of VI dt, and that is integrating from what? 0 to t1 time period. From 0 to t1 time period we are integrating. Then we are integrating from t1 to t2 with the reference voltage. So plus here we have a minus 1 upon RC integration will be from a t1 to t2, but it is integrated with the reference voltage. This reference voltage is a negative. This reference voltage is negative. So what we can write, that this is equal to minus 1 upon RC. If you take the integration of this, then it is VI into a T1 plus 1 upon RC. If I will take the integration of this, then the VR into T2 minus T1. But ultimately, if you see that after the integration, my output voltage is going to be 0. Here it is starting with the 0 and then it is also ending with the 0. So this output voltage is 0. And therefore, we can say that VI by RC into T1 is equal to VR by RC into T2 minus T1. And here RC is cancelled. Then let us say here from the T1 to T2 means this time period is what? You can say it is T1 minus T2, and this is equal to, let us say it is a T. It is a T. Here this T2 is from the 0. Remember, this T2, or we can write a T2 time period is there, then I don't have to write the T1 here. But let us say, okay, here for more clarity, here you consider that this time period is T2, then this will be equal to a T2 minus T1, but the T1 is going to be a 0 because we are considering from this point to this point as a T2. Right? Otherwise, we can write that T2 minus T1 is equal to a small t. Okay. Now let us see some mathematics. Suppose if I want to write the expression for the output voltage, then this output voltage is written as a minus 1 upon RC integration from 0 to T1 Vi dt. So here from this point to this point, we are calculating what is the output voltage. And now from this point to this point, remember, and this time period is T2. So again we write that output voltage plus, now here it is a minus 1 upon RC, and 0 to T2, my reference voltage is also a negative, so minus VR into dt. Remember, 0 to T2 means we consider only this time period. Means not from 0 here. So that is T2. And therefore this is equal to minus 1 upon RC, and this is a Vi into T1 will be there. Then minus minus plus 1 upon RC, and this will be a VR into T2 will be there. So after all, here when you are doing the integration, then what is the final result? Final result is comes up to be a 0 volt. Correct? So here we write the output voltage is 0. And therefore means you take this negative sign on other side, we have a Vi by RC into T1 is equal to VR by RC into T2, and this RC will be cancelled, that you can say Vi is equal to VR into T2 by T1. Correct? Now what is T2 and what is T1? That you can write in terms of the number of the clock pulses. Suppose my clock pulses here. I have this clock pulses like this. And this periodic time is T. This is a periodic time T. Correct? Suppose the clock pulses are counting for a time period of T1. So if this is a T1 time period, remember. And in T1 time period, how many clock pulses are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 clock pulses are there. So the T1 will be equal to, we can write 5 into T. Or you can say this T1 is equal to a N into T, or the N1 into T. Because the 1 clock pulse, second, third, fourth, and fifth clock pulse is there. So T1 is equal to 5 into T, or you can say it is N1 into T. Same way, here if this going to be measured for the time period of T2, like this, then the T2 will be equal to, we can write a N2 into T. So we are writing this time period in terms of the number of the clock pulses. So this is equal to VR into N2 into T divided by N1 into T. So Tt will be cancelled, or we can say that the input voltage is equal to a N2 into VR by N1. Remember, VR by N1. Now, what is VR? VR is my reference voltage, and it is a constant quantity. What is N1? N1 is a number of the clock pulses for a constant time period of t1. So here the VR and N1 both are constant. So we can say that this is equal to Vi is equal to K into N2. And what is K? K is equal to VR by N1. Here the reference voltage is constant, N1 is also a constant, so Vi is equal to K N2. And ultimately we can say that Vi is proportional to N1. Vi is proportional to N1, or you can say the N1 is proportional to the Vi. Means whatever the clock pulse is measured by this during the time period of T2, that is a proportional to your input voltage. So in this way, the dual slope DVM is working with the integrated circuit. The main advantage of this DVM is that it is measuring the more accurate voltage. Why it is measuring more accurate voltage? Because whatever the input voltage is there, or you can say that N2, here the number of the clock pulses, N2 will be equal to what we can say, that is Vi by K, correct? Or we have this expression. Now in this expression there is no R and C. So for integrator I can take any value of the resistance, I can take any value of the capacitor, and here the number of the clock pulses is independent of the resistance and the capacitor. It is only depends on what is your input voltage. So with the environment, if the temperature will increase or decrease, then the value of the resistance will, suppose it is going to change, value of the capacitor is going to change, if the characteristics of your operational amplifier is going to change, but here the number of the clock pulses will not be changed. So here this will give you a more accuracy than the ramp type DVM, because it is a independent of all the parameters. Second thing, that here if the noise will be there, noise is right over on your input signal. But what is the integrator? Integrator is nothing but it is giving averaging your input voltage. So automatically the noise is going to be suppressed when you are measuring this voltage. Only the disadvantage is that it will require that conversion time is very high. Means conversion time is from analog signal to a digital signal. Whatever the time is required, that is the T1 and T2. Here the conversion time is T1 plus T2, you should remember. Conversion time is equal to a T1 plus T2. So that is going to be a lag. So it is a slower compared to other DVM, but it is more accurate for the measurement.